Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today I want to talk about Magnum engine swaps. I get a lot of questions and I just wanted to go through, I've got the Valiant with the Magnum swap and the V-belt, and then we have Big Red Magnum swapped, and I kept the serpentine system. So I just want to go through what kind of options are available for the Magnum swaps, and that way you can make decisions for your build. So I have a little format kind of planned out. And first things first is getting the engine in the vehicle. And the Magnum versus the LA are really similar. And if you have a 318 vehicle, it's even easier. Or if you have an LA engine in your car, it's even easier. So first things first, the 360 has a different engine mount or engine bracket. The mounts are the same. 360 bracket is different on the driver's side than the passenger side. So if you're going from a 318 through a 360, you're going to need that bracket. It's just wider. Some guys actually modify the 318 bracket, but getting a 360 driver's side bracket's easier. And also on your flex plates or flywheels, the 360 is externally balanced and it's different than an LA. So you have to have a flex plate from either a Magnum engine that has the weights on it. Some of them don't have the weights, so you need to make sure you have the weights on the flex plate or the flywheel. Or you can, if you can find one of the old B&M flex plates, they used to make one. I think the part number was 10242, but that's been discontinued. And actually that flex plate is in Big Red. The Valiant has a stock 360 flex plate from a pickup truck, and there's going to be one hole that's going to be offset, and you need to kind of oblong that hole. Also on the front end, your dampener is going to be different than an LA, so you want to use the Magnum dampener. Another thing about the dampener, I think in '98 they went to a one-piece damper pulley compared to a dampener with a bolt-on pulley. So if you're going to use the old style LA front end, you need to make sure you get the older style dampener. Let me show you the other one real quick, the Ram. There's a view of that. That is a single piece damper. You can see there's no bolts on there, so you can only use the serpentine belt on that style. So now I'm going to get into some stuff that you're going to have to make a decision on based on your build. And starting off, I'm going to talk about the timing cover. And this vehicle has the LA timing cover, which means it's going to look old. It's going to have the V-belts. It's going to have all the front dress of 70s and 80s vehicles. Now, one reason you might want to do this is for the old look, but also you can run a mechanical fuel pump. So that's that. Now here's a look at Big Red. And I decided to use the serpentine system on this one, using the Magnum cover, and everything worked out right, worked out nice. The water pump and timing covers, make sure whichever one you're using that gasket set. So don't use a Magnum timing cover gasket for the LA timing cover. But as you can see, no mechanical fuel pump provision on the Magnum timing cover. But I have all the serpentine stuff. And also here, this is the factory power steering pump that was on the truck, and it bolted right into the Magnum bracket. Okay, so now that we talked about the timing cover, I want to hit on the camshaft. Now if you're running a stock camshaft and you want to run a mechanical fuel pump, you're going to have to get an extension for the camshaft for the eccentric for the fuel pump, because the camshafts are longer for the LAs, and you'll have to have a little spacer that comes out here. Hughes Engines has them, and they're about $16. That'll extend this out to where you can run the fuel pump and your LA style timing cover. Now also with camshafts, you have the Crower, the Crane, and the Hughes. Out of those, the Hughes is already extended for the fuel pump provision. If you go with the Crower or the Crane, you're going to have to buy that extension that you have to buy for the stock cam. So make sure you keep that in mind. Camshafts, all except Hughes, you're going to have an extension if you want to run the mechanical fuel pump. Okay, so let's talk about intake manifolds. The Magnum intake manifolds have vertical mounting holes. The old LAs have an angled. So with your intake manifolds, there's a couple in production right now. You have the Chinese version. This is a Pro Form. I don't think they make those anymore, but you have Speedmaster, Crosswind, and an Assault, I believe. And they're all just like this. And this one has the thermostat housing in the center. That'll be important in a minute. I'll show you the Edelbrock in a second. So anyways, these are just cheap little intake manifolds. I think the Crosswind you can get for about 170. That's the cheapest one on Barnett Performance. And then on eBay you can get like an Assault for 199 or something like that. So it depends on how much you want to spend. But yep, that's the Chinese version. This is in the center. Let's go look at the Edelbrock. Also, the Chinese versions, they have a dual bolt pattern, so you can use them on the LA and the Magnums. So here's the Edelbrock version. And like I was saying earlier, on the Chinese version, the thermostat housing is centered in the intake. This one's offset a little bit. Why that's important is if you're running the Magnum front end and you want to retain the air conditioner, you have to run the Edelbrock intake. And this is $400 compared to the $200 Chinese intake. So I had the Chinese intake on here. It absolutely would not allow the intake, the air conditioner to go on there. So if you want air conditioning from a newer vehicle, from the Magnum, you're gonna have to run the Edelbrock intake. So I kind of touched on this already, but fuel pump wise, if you're going to run the LA cover, you can run electrical or a mechanical. Magnum, only electrical pumps. So keep that in mind for your build. Okay, so next up, I have a distributor here. This is out of a Magnum engine, and you can't use that. So what I did, just buy any distributor for an LA, basically. And I bought this one. This is the last one that I bought. And this one has no mechanical advance. It's locked out because I'm going to be using my Phytech for my timing. But on Big Red, it has the stock distributor out of an '86 Dodge Ram. And then because of the cam, I had to do some adjustments with the timing. There is a 4secondsflat.com, I believe it is. They have a restrictor plate. I had a video on that in the past. But you drop that restrictor plate in there. That way you can move up your base timing and also restrict your amount of throw on your advance. So if you want, you can run an MSD or whatever if you want to for an LA, but just a stock distributor works fine. That has an MSD box in it, the 2AL programmable, and it works great. It's been in there for 5 years. No, it's been in there for 8 years, so that works great. But yeah, stock LA distributor works. And also for exhaust, the headers, same as the LA or manifolds, whatever you want to use, that will fit right on the Magnum, no problem. Something else I want to mention on the Magnum style is the alternators put out a whole bunch more amps than the factory alternators on these older vehicles. So I had to upgrade the wire coming out of my alternator, running to my battery and all. So I ended up frying a fusible link over here because this thing puts out, I think, 100 and something, 110 or something like that. Compared to the stock, which was 60 to 80, somewhere in that range. But anyway, just be aware of that. And then this was also lean burn carburetor. It was a 318 with a lean burn 2-barrel, and the computer was over here. I just get rid of all that because you don't need that wiring for this anymore. As far as the transmission goes, it's the same as a small block LA. If it's a 904 727 from a vehicle that has a small block in it, it's going to work fine. Obviously a slant 6 is different, so that's not going to work. So the LA valve cover is a 10-hole bolt hole design to secure it, and I believe the old LAs are only 6, but the LA valve cover will bolt on here with the 6 bolts and secure just like it would on an LA. So if you have your old LA valve covers that you like and you want to keep them on your Magnum, it's no problem. Okay, I think that's gonna cover it. If I missed anything, just let me know in the comments below. These are basically the same engines. The outside design is the same. All the bolt holes are the same, like as far as mounting it and everything. So you're not gonna have to cut to put a Magnum engine where there was an LA. But with the information I gave you, just keep in mind, do you want the V-belt? Do you want the mechanical pump? Or do you want an electrical fuel pump? And are you gonna run AC on your V-belt? Or are you gonna run AC on your serpentine belt? Need the Edelbrock intake to do that. So just giving you guys kind of what I've learned over the years doing this. And I actually put that intake on there and couldn't put my AC unit on there if I had to, so I put the delete on there. But I hope this covers everything that you guys need to know. And like I said, if you have more questions, just put them in the comments. But that's gonna do it. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time.